Good afternoon. Welcome to the Business Boardcast. I'm Nikki Larkin, and today I'm delighted that for the first time on the Business Boardcast, I have my guest as Donna Barnes. Hi, Donna.
Hello, Nikki. Thank you for the invite.
So today, the reason why we've got Donna here is she's got a huge amount of experience in recruitment, and particularly in recruitment for those lovely things called accountants. So I think most of you who have tried to either hire for your finance team, or if you run an accountancy practice trying to recruit for your accountancy practice, know how difficult the market has been over the last few years for recruitment. And I'm sharing my secret of how I've survived, and it's Donna. So, Donna, what is the market like at the moment?
As you'd expect, the market's pretty tough. Skills are difficult, but I have to say we're beginning to see a little bit more movement in the candidate market. So we're definitely beginning to see more people looking to change, more people open to discussion. So actually, at the moment, there's about 46% of people are actually looking to move roles. So they're open to have a discussion. It doesn't necessarily mean they will. Yeah, 46%. Yeah, that's that. But they're open to have a discussion. Doesn't necessarily mean they'll move, but they're open to have a discussion.
Okay, gosh, that's a scary statistic for those that might be thinking, "Oh, great! At last, I've got my dream team," and wanting to make sure that they do retain it. For those that may be new to the Business Boardcast, we are running this live, so please do ask questions, post your questions or comments, and we will do our best to answer them all. If you are watching this on catch up on LinkedIn or YouTube, do just find Donna Barnes on LinkedIn. You'll easily be able to find her, and just DM her direct with your questions. Okay, sorry. So just getting the housework out of the way. So when you are looking for candidates at the moment, Donna, what are the candidates looking for?
There's a real mix. Most of them at the moment are looking because they know that there's a requirement for them. So they're looking for a lot more flexibility within their working role. So whether that be a fully remote role, whether that be a hybrid role, or whether that just be flexibility on hours. So a little bit more flexi time. So we had a candidate recently who needed to have a later lunch because they needed to go and pick the children up from school, drop them back at home or wherever they needed to drop them, and then come back. So they're just looking for a little bit more flexibility.
So are you saying that some people still have fixed lunch times? I don't think I've been anywhere with a fixed lunchtime for about 20 years.
And that's it. And I think for me, it's about treating people a bit more like grown-ups. So as long as the work is done, and if you've got the processes and procedures in place within your organisation to be able to manage and task list, then it's a lot easier. And those companies are getting the better talent.
Okay, great. So you mentioned at the start of that about remote and hybrid, and obviously there are that I have seen some firms, so SMEs and some accountancy practices that have gone back 100% in the office. Obviously, I'm not in my field office today. I'm at my home office, as I often am on a Friday, because I'm jumped into lots of different calls. So I think I heard you mention the other day some interesting statistics between how if you insist upon 100% office working, how that decreases your candidate pool.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact amount, but it was around about Yeah, go on then. Tell me. I can't. I knew it was it around. If you
reduces it down by 81%.
that's right. I was going to say if you total it together, so people that are looking either hybrid or remote, you're cutting 80% of the workforce out of your target audience because they're looking for that. By bringing people into the office full time now, you are massively decreasing the skill set that you can attract.
Yeah, and it's crazy anyone doing 100%. I mean, I remember a role, I think my second ever role, and it was in a multinational, and I often had work from home days if I was having to focus on a particular project or something, and that was 25 years ago.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
I think the
incredibly
industry.
old-fashioned.
Yeah, and I think the industry actually lends itself to home working because the nature of the work is quite detailed. You do have to focus. You can task, so you can monitor. So I understand where some people want hybrid, and actually candidates are beginning to go back to that because they're missing that team environment a little bit. They're missing the ability, but they want that flexibility. Flexibility is the key word.
Yeah, I think what I've definitely been seeing in teams that are either of clients' teams or my own teams is a lot of the younger staff or trainees, they need to have, not need, some of them like to have more time in the office. One, because perhaps they don't have so much space at home. Also, just, it's the social aspect as well. But that's also why the hybrid's so great, because it gives you the flexibility.
Yeah, and I think also the workforce. I know the workforce is beginning to get older, and as that happens, you can give the flexibility to the working hours as well. So if they've got commitments, and I know some people who work early in the morning, they then take the time off for the school run or whatever they need to do. They then come back and they work a bit later in the evening.
Yeah.
And as long as they've got the core hours as such that the company requires, then they can do that. So yeah, for me, I think it's you're just cutting off your nose to spite your face to want them in the office full time.
Absolutely. So before you start on your recruitment journey, what things do you have to be looking out for or do? Or what should you be doing to maximize your chance of success?
Well, you've got to get yourself employee ready. People forget that actually they're going to be on show. So when they go out to the market, you need to be ready for that person, and the same as you would do for a client. So you wouldn't just go out and try and get new clients and not have your backup ready, your staff ready, your literature ready, your sales ready, the pricing. It's exactly the same when you go and try and find a new employee. So you need to make sure that you're all ready. So things like the job description, but also, does that job description fit with your working practices, and does it fit with your ambitions for your company and your strategy, etc. Because what I see a lot of times is, and when I even speak to clients, so they'll go, Donna, I need this, and I'll question it, and what it will actually appear is they don't need this, because that's just a little short-term fix. Actually, what they do need is X. And you're going out to the marketplace, and there's nothing worse than can harm your brand by going out for something and then not actually completing that exercise and going through the interview process and then going, actually, you're not quite what I want. I'm looking for this, but the advert said this, and that's what. Well, yeah, we were looking for that initially, but now we've been through the process. We're looking for this. So just make sure that you really do look at the type of person that you're wanting, the hours that you can offer. Can you be flexible? look at all of the work, the situation before you go out. What can you offer? What is your salary range? And do your research on your salary range,
Yeah,
because
that
that's
was something I
key.
was going to pick up. Obviously, the cost of living. I mean, we tried really hard to maximise our recent pay increases. We've also been doing some extra set fixed amounts because we recognise that people's energy bills are going crazy. What are you seeing in the market? What is salary inflation like at the moment?
It's stopped a little bit at the moment, so it's actually become a little bit more stagnant. But at the end of last year, the last quarter, I think we saw it go up by something like 20-something% within the last quarter of last year. So the pay increases went up at the end of the year, but we've at the moment it's pretty stable. It's not increasing at this moment, but we saw it massively increase, and I think it's people moving. People, obviously that drives the job market, that drives the salaries
Yeah.
up, because you've got to offer more, and then everything else goes up with it, because you can't bring somebody in on one salary unless the team, because it causes concern and issues there. So we've seen that happen, and if you want to get the right people for your company, you've got to pay the salaries. So we saw a massive increase, but at the moment it's quite steady. There is forecasting for it to go up, and I saw a really minimal figure that they're forecasting for increases in the sector to go up over the next few years. I think it will still increase slightly, but I think we'll see it stagnate for the moment.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think recently it certainly has gone up a lot. I was surprised though. Obviously, I've been in the sector for a very long time, over a quarter of a century, and I mean, albeit my background was in London, so obviously that's sort of peak salary area anyway. But it does seem to be that the amounts for, say, for example, newly qualified hadn't massively changed for ages. They were very, it was 35, 40, and they've been like that for years. It seemed to be, yeah, I was, so to be honest, for the amount of time that it takes people to qualify as an accountant, I personally, I mean, probably cutting nose or spite my face for, having to pay more people, but it does seem that you could do other jobs with more money, so it needed an increase.
Yeah, and I agree. And as you say, it's not a profession that you can just move into. You do need to do the training. You do need the knowledge. And what we're seeing at the moment, where the need is the more specialist areas that they are in. So not your generic. And we're also seeing a different kind of skill set come out from, especially in practice, where it used to be very much number crunching. It's not anymore, because you've got all the technology. It's much more client facing, so the skill set is very different. You do need that knowledge, so you need to have done your qualifications, but you also need a very different skill set.
That's narrowing the pool though, isn't it? Because
totally.
finding those accountants that have got the technical knowledge but also the communication skills does bring down the pool a lot. So it's not a surprise really in that from that sense. Okay, so assuming you've done your homework, you've got all your job specs, you know exactly what you want, etc. What is the next stage? Where if people were silly enough to try and do it on their own and not use you or somebody, one of your colleagues in the field, where should they look? What's the next stage?
So what I would always encourage people to go for referrals, go for employee referrals before they even come to me. Do that first, because especially if employees are going to recommend, because if they're going to be working alongside them, they would ordinarily only recommend people that they would want to work alongside.
Yes.
So, and I always encourage employee referral schemes before anybody comes to me. So have a look at that way first, and also put it out on your socials. So I would put it out there. But before you do all that, sorry, I missed a part with getting employer ready. Make sure that your shop window is right. Make sure that your website is absolutely spot on, because that's what they're going to look at. A lot of people make sure that their websites are right for their clients. They totally forget about their employees. So make sure that your website's got diverse images. Make sure that it's got it's easy to find.
Diverse images, if it is a diverse company, so if they show diverse images and then you go there and there isn't, it's going to be a bit of a
true to form. So make it easy for people to come and see your goals and about you as an organisation. Put the perks on there. Make sure, the other thing that employers forget, because they're not necessarily thinking of recruitment all the time, because they don't have to recruit. So it's like, oh, we need to recruit. Now let's have a look at it. But your Glassdoor, make sure your Glassdoor is up to date, because people look on Glassdoor and they look at the reviews. So make sure your Glassdoor reviews are up to date, and or Google reviews, and they're not just client led. Get your employees on them as well, because it means an awful lot. So make sure that that's all ready. And then the next day, so write a job ad. Job description, job ad. If you're going to do it yourself, we always write our job ads for our clients. But if you're going to do it yourself, make sure your job ad has what's happening, I've seen a lot of, is people put really wacky and different job titles on their job ads. It's lovely if it's internally, but when people are searching for a job, they use traditional search terms, and you're more likely to come up your search terms if you've got a really traditional job title.
Yeah,
within your job description.
Tricky, because we don't use. I don't even still. I know you keep explaining them to me. I still don't understand all these semi.
But that's why you use me, Nikki. I put them all out there for you. So you say to me what I want, and then I put it into the search terms. But when you're writing your job ad, you can put all the bits in that the wacky bits in there, because different job descriptions, different job ads always stick out as well. But for search technology, make sure your job ad and your title is really searchable and it means something to your industry. And if you want the Sage or whatever, put it all in there, because it will just put it higher up. Sage 0, QuickBooks, and those terms, not just one. So make sure that your job ad is really well written, and then make sure you're ready for your responses, because gone are the days when you sit there, you put a closing date on. Never use closing dates. You put a closing date on, and then you sit there and wait for all the CVs to come through, and then you wonder why, when you go back over them, you go, oh, brilliant, I found somebody, that they're not available because they've gone and got a job a week ago when they applied for your job because they were in the process. So make sure
straight away.
You've got, and don't wait for 3 or 4. If you see that one, hop on it very quickly, and make sure that your process. So when candidates are questioned, the process needs to be quick, needs to be organised, and it needs to be transparent with clear communication lines. Tell them what the interview process is. Tell them if they're going to be taking any assessments. Tell them if there's a second interview. Make sure that they're really aware of what you're doing, because communication is absolutely key. That's where everything falls down. And then make sure that that's all done. And if you offer, don't sit back and just I've offered now, because actually a lot of the fallout is between offer and start, because then they get counter offered, and then you've got to that's when you're an employer doing it yourself. Managing that is quite a difficult process.
Yeah, I had last year particularly bad experience on contractors. So that got everything agreed, signed, and then drop out, which I thought was pretty unprofessional, to be honest. But that surprised me how bad the contractor market is as well in this sector at the moment.
It's really fickle.
Absorbent. can't use the wrong word, very high prices, and very high prices, no loyalty. Well, perhaps, of course, you're not going to necessarily get loyalty on that anyway because they're contractors. But yeah, to agree to something, you're all ready, so you've stopped looking because you've got somebody ready, and then they drop out. I thought that was shocking. Also, I had people that would do, and I was paying a huge amount of money for that I would never normally have paid, but needs must, leave before like the term as well. So I was shocked. So yeah, I'm still pro permanence rather than contractors in the sector.
Yeah, contractors are exactly. I mean, we actually provide. We've started going into the contractor market because there is a high increase in demand for them, but they are very different, different ways of dealing, handling, managing. But it is quite different. But with the perm market, I'm seeing some habits and behaviours that are ordinarily only exhibited in the contractor market. So, people not turning up for interviews, which is in this industry, it's very low. I've been in the generic industry, but we're beginning to see a little bit of it, and we're also beginning to see dropouts nearer the time because of counter offers and better offers. Like, as much as you can ask them, are you interviewing anywhere else? No. And then they come to you and it's like, oh, I've had another offer. And you're like, but you weren't interviewing. So I've started to see that behaviour in the industry.
Yeah, that which is sad. So obviously it's better that the staff that you do have, try and keep them as long as possible. Absolutely. So I know that there's quite a few people watching at the moment. So do if there's something specific you want to ask Donna, do let us know. Perhaps we could just have a moment while to wrap it up from the candidate side. How, if I was out there, looking, which I'm not, because I've got my lovely, several day jobs already anyway. If I was going out to the market tomorrow, what is the way to maximise to make sure that I do get my dream 6-figure salary?
So how would you as a candidate? First of all, I would do your research and I would look at your specialisms. So if I was a candidate, I would look at the role that you're doing, because even though you might have the job title, every company has a different requirement within that role. So what is it that you actually do that is your KPI? Sorry, not KPI. That is special to you. USP, that's it. So what is your USP? What makes you valuable to somebody? And also know what you're looking for, and that leads back to your USP. So don't go out there and just go, I want another job, and the most important thing to me is money. That's a given. That's but what is it that you actually want? Because the market's saturated at the moment with clients looking for candidates. So as soon as you go into the market, you are going to get hit by goodness knows how many, and you're going to get overwhelmed with opportunities. Ordinarily, if you're good, you will do. So you need to make sure you know what it is you want from your next opportunity, and know what you're worth. But don't be. I'm seeing some greedy candidates as well at the moment, where they're really trying their luck. But then we'll see some job hoppers, because they won't be able to. They've overpromised and underdelivered. And when we speak to candidates, we question quite heavily. And if we believe that is the case, we won't put them forward to our clients, because we just know that they're not going to last in there.
Yeah. No, very sensible. Yeah, we've all seen that. Indeed. Okay, super. So, is there, how would you summarize your takeaways, Donna, for everybody watching, on how to make sure that you do secure your dream candidate? What are sort of the top 3 tips that you think the employer should be thinking about to take away from today?
Okay, so the first one is obviously, can you allow hybrid working? Make sure that, allow yourself and look at your company, and can you do hybrid, or at least give some flexibility within your working environment. So that's the first thing. The next thing is look at your employer branding. What does it look like? If you were looking at your company and looking to work for yourself, what would you think? Would you want to come and work for you? So if it's a no, spend some money on your employer branding. Even if you use an agency to recruit for you, the first thing when we speak to candidates, they ask who the client is, we tell them who the client is, they go away, and the amount of candidates that come back and go, sorry, I don't want to work for them, so you're knocking, so that 20%, especially if you're in the office, is already knocked down again. So make sure your employer branding is right. And the third one is make sure that whatever you put out in writing is accurate on what you are as an organisation, because you only get one opportunity to do that. And make sure that your processes, make sure that your processes, once you advertise, are absolutely slick, and the candidate gets the best experience when they come and see you, because you only get that opportunity again once.
Absolutely. Don't leave your candidate waiting for ages, because that's just rude. Make sure you are there to welcome them, that you have. Oh, what was the thing somebody was saying about? They were shocked about the amounts of times where people hadn't even read the person's CV and things. So, do make sure you're prepped just as much as the candidate's prepped to make that experience pleasant for them, and memorable, positively memorable. Absolutely.
Nice.
Super. So what do you said about the, just to very finalize for the last sort of minute, you've said about the market softened a bit, and I've certainly seen that over the last few months. I've been getting a lot more CVs through than for a long time. Still the issue in trying to get qualified auditors, but apart from that, you can find just about everything else. Even I'm even getting lots of tax people, which is, because it used to be tax and auditors being the hard, but actually I could find tax people now. It's just those precious auditors. So what do you foresee for this year? Are you sort of expecting it to soften up even further? Because, I've been seeing redundancies in some areas. So are there going to be some more people coming on the market from that? Or are you not seeing it hit people's finance departments yet?
We are slowly seeing it hit, and I think we will see more movement within the marketplace, and I think we'll see it coming from the firms that aren't being flexible. If they're not giving good employee engagement, we'll see that as well. And I think we're beginning to see more movement. And also, if the companies that aren't looking at the salaries, that are a little bit behind the times, and candidates are now knowledgeable of the salaries that are in the marketplace, we will see those come through as well. So I think it will soften a little bit more, but I think you have to be ready for those candidates, and you have to have the right offerings to attract them.
I'll never forget, I think it was about 8 years ago, I was doing some recruitment, and this lady approached me, lovely lady, who'd been working in a practice for a long time. She ended up not being quite what I wanted, but I was shocked. She was earning £15,000. It was crazy that there are, I really hope by now she's found something much better. But I was quite shocked that there were some practices still trying to get away with paying very, very little. Anyway, thank you so much, Donna. That's fabulous.
My pleasure.
Where's the best place for people to contact you?
The best place is on LinkedIn. So have a look. I think the links are on the show anyway. So have a look on there, and then message me. My phone number's on there as well, and my email address. If you want any help, any advice, just give me a shout.
Yeah. And Donna's got a lovely team behind her as well. So,
I have.
yeah, you'll definitely be well looked after. Anyway, thank you very much, Donna. I'm trying to remember what's next week. I was trying to find that. I know that I've got a feeling it's we're looking in corporation tax, because there's a lot of changes in corporation tax coming. I think that's what next week's one is. If it isn't next week, it's definitely one of them in February. So we've got quite a few, lots of interesting different things in our February slots, but I think it's Richard Feekins regarding the changes in corporation tax rate and the calculations. So, but anyway, thank you very much, Donna.
Thank you.
We've got through January. Yay! Hopefully you've all hit your targets and you'll have a great had a great January and really enjoy your February, your first weekend in February. Cheerio. Thank you, Donna. Bye.
Bye.